Welcome back to Pig and Beef. Today we're going to be doing a Cajun brine pork shoulder out on our Yoder YS640s pellet grill. What we've got here is a 7-pound pork butt roast. With a pork butt, I don't usually do a whole lot of trimming. You can, if you want, take some of this fat cap off. I typically don't remove the fat cap, but you know, if you want to, you definitely can. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get this in a brine. You know, we've had a few different videos that we've done with pulled pork. This is just a little bit different approach with the pulled pork. It's gonna give it a little bit different flavor base. We're gonna be using the Barbecue Provisions Bayou brine. Brining, basically what it's going to do is it's going to help any meat that you brine. It's going to help it retain moisture. Pork butt, it's obviously something that's got a lot of fat content, so it doesn't typically need a lot of that, but you know, this is going to also add that extra flavor that we're looking for as well. So we'll go ahead and we'll get the brine going, and we'll get this in. Usually what we're going to do here with this is we're just going to brine it overnight. And then tomorrow we'll get it out on our smoker. Okay, we've got 2 quarts of boiling water we just brought to a boil on the stove top here that we're going to combine with about 8 ounces of our Bayou brine from Barbecue Provisions. All you want to do is just make sure that you stir this enough to dissolve all the salt and sugar, and then you're going to want to let this cool back down to room temperature. And then at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to combine this with 2 gallons of ice water. And that's all you really need to do for the brine. Then we'll get our pork butt in there, and we'll get it in the fridge to let it brine overnight. Just let this simmer until everything's incorporated. We've let our brine cool to room temperature. What we're going to do now is we've got our briner bucket here. We've got the 22 quart briner bucket. We filled it with 2 gallons of ice water. So we're going to add the brine mixture to the ice water, and then we're going to put our pork butt in there, and we're going to put it in the fridge overnight. Obviously, you don't need to use the briner bucket. The advantage of the briner bucket is it has this lockdown plate, so you can make sure that your meat stays completely submerged the whole time it's in the brine. Our pork has been in the brine overnight. We're going to take it out and get it seasoned up. What we're using today to season this is Excalibur's Cajun rub. So this is gonna, you know, we've already added a layer of flavor with the Cajun brine. Our grill is up to temp. Our pork is all seasoned. So we're gonna throw it on. We've got, you'll notice, a water pan here at the on the bottom rack here. We're gonna place our pork on the top rack. The water pan is gonna create some steam and help keep the meat moist while it's in the smoker. That also is gonna help with the cleanup. You notice we don't have foil down here on our grease drip pan yet, so we've got this foil pan here that's going to help just make sure that we keep the grill clean while we're cooking. So we'll get this on, anticipating this to take between 7 to 8 hours. About 5 hours in, we're going to come out and check on it. Depending on where the color's at, that's when we want to wrap it in foil and get it back on there. But we'll get this on there and check on it in a few hours. We've been going for 5 hours now. We have not even taken a peek at the pork butt, so we're gonna check on it now. Probably gonna be time to wrap this thing up in some foil and get a probe in there. So let's take a look. Oh, it's got a very nice color to it, as you can tell. Dark mahogany color. We'll go ahead and get this wrapped up. We're going to use 2 layers of aluminum foil. We're not going to use a wrapping juice today. You can if you want. You can use apple cider vinegar. You can use apple juice, water, whatever you want to do. We're not going to do that today. We're just going to wrap it in the foil. It's still going to have enough juices coming out. It's not going to dry up at all being in the foil, so I'm not overly concerned about that, especially after we brined it. But like I said, if you want to wrap it up, you're more than welcome to. We're going to get it right back on. You want to make sure you're careful when you're putting your probe in that you don't hit the bone. That's going to make sure that's going to give you not a very accurate reading if you do it that way. All right, we'll get this in. Probably going to be another 2 to 3 hours before this is done. The target internal temperature you're looking for is around 200 degrees. Once we pull it off, we're going to let it rest in the cooler for half hour to an hour, and then it'll be ready to pull. Our pork has been resting in the cooler for an hour now. Total cook time was just under 10 hours. We're gonna pull it out of the cooler now. We're gonna shred it apart and it's ready to go. So let's see how we did. It's always the surefire way to tell if your pork's done. Look at that. Nice and clean. Pull this thing apart. All right, let's see how this thing tastes. It sure looks good. It smells great. Let's give it just a little sample here. It really got a lot of the strong Cajun flavor in there. Very juicy, very moist and tender. If you are wanting to do something different than just regular pulled pork, give this a go, because it's really just going to give it a little bit of a different texture, if you're getting tired of just regular pulled pork, give this a go. It'll really just kind of shake things up just a little bit, give it a little bit different flavor profile. So excellent recipe, give it a go.